Hey everybody, it's Rolly. And so I am back for day 3 of the Soulful journey that we have started beginning of November. And for those of you who've joined me in October or in September, I'm glad to see that you are joining me again. And so this time we're actually going to get the whole 30 days going. So we are going to finish through. Grace has been working on the workbook because she was there today. And so by Tuesday next week, we will have the workbook completed and ready to download for anybody who wants it. And it'll have like the journal prompting questions and that kind of thing. So you'll be able to have access to that. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to do these lives and share the points for each one. So today is about mindful eating. And so this is something that is always a challenge for many of us. And so I did the 7-day challenge with several of you last week. And so, last 2 months ago. And so I definitely would be interested in doing the 7-day challenge again, because it is one of those things that we tend to stop, right? So it's like wolf down our food or not pay a whole lot of attention to what it is that we're eating. And so here comes my Tigor. And so just being able to get things, being focused on some of the things that we're eating and focusing on how we're eating and being able to have that aspect of the eating. So one of the things that allows us to be able to be more noticeable in terms of what we're eating and how we're eating is being able to be mindful as to how we're doing it. So I am one that is very guilty of, I need to hurry up and eat because if my food gets cold, then I won't eat it. And so I have to be very quick about it, but at the same time, I also need to be mindful about how much that I'm eating, what the taste is, and that kind of thing. And so just being able to be present with that. And as you can see, Tigor is trying to figure out how he's going to navigate around my desk because he keeps knocking things down, and I'm trying to get my office organized and clean, as you can see from my piles. And here he is trying to get into that. So those of you who are catching this on the podcast are not seeing my cat moving around, and he loves to chase the mouse on my screen, so I have to try and make sure that I don't move it around when he's up here. So anyway, it's about being able to be mindful and noticing that emotional piece that comes with eating. So so I have two things in terms of eating disorders for me, is that when things get stressful, then I tend to not eat. And so then I have to be more mindful about what it is that I'm eating and making sure that I'm taking in calories. And so, but then when I am taking in calories and forcing myself to take calories, I need to make sure that I'm taking in calories that are good for me, because otherwise, then that's just a whole other thing. And then, so I'm not a comfort food eater. And so my comfort food is when things are going well. So I have to be mindful about what it is that I'm eating when I'm not. Whereas other people is when things are not going well and it's stressful, well, then they're just eating whatever it is that they can get into their mouth and whatever it is that makes them feel good. And like I said, I'm opposite to that. And I know a few people that are opposite to that. So historically, prior to having my children, I had the cat is trying to get the cat in the screen. And so prior to having my children, that was one of the things, is that I had an eating disorder and I had to try and maintain my weight at a certain level, because if I didn't maintain my weight at a certain level, the doctor had already threatened to have me hospitalized. And that was like, that's not happening. I'm not doing that. And so I really forced myself to make sure that I just stayed at that level, and I literally just stayed at that minimum level. And so, and if I started to drop, well, then I would work at making sure that I brought myself back up again, because it was just something that I was not going to go in the hospital for. And so it was something that I really struggled with. And then when I had my first pregnancy, I lost the baby. And so one of the things that the doctor had said to me is that there's a possibility, not to put blame, but the possibility was because that I was malnourished and because of my eating disorder that I chances are I my body wasn't able to maintain that pregnancy. And that really hit home when I got pregnant the second time. And so when I got pregnant for Michael, it was like I forced myself to eat because I couldn't even fathom the idea of losing another baby. And so I made sure that I ate everything that I possibly can and really didn't focus. I stayed away from the weight, from the scale, except for in the doctor's office. The doctor would still do the weight, but I didn't focus on my weight. I really needed to stay away from that visual. I needed to stay away from like having pictures of myself. And so right before my pregnancy, or right before Michael was born, my girlfriend said, "You need to have a baby belly picture." And I was like, "I don't want to do this." But she really did make sure that I had that. And like now I'm grateful and thankful for that. And when Casey came along, then I was able to do that. But at that point, so after having Michael, then it was like, okay, I'm nursing him. So I need to make sure that I'm eating, because I need to make sure that he's getting the nutrients that he needs so that he can actually thrive. And because I wanted to make sure that he was getting the breast milk. And then by the time that I got pregnant for Casey, it was a lot easier because I was still maintaining what I needed to so that I can be healthy and well for Michael. And so my kids have always been that drive for me of being able to kind of get through those pieces. Whereas not everybody who has an eating disorder has um, that same drive. And so when I gained the weight after I quit smoking, and then I've like just been, the weight's been up and down. And so I still struggle with that, but I stay away from like comparing the body images and really staying focused. And when I start getting into that mind frame, then I need to make sure that I'm reaching out to somebody to be able to do that, because there is a lot around eating that we bring forward. And like I said, so like there's one of two things, right? So like there's the eating disorder of like being underweight. And then there's the one of like people who are using the food to be able to feel good. And so it's just really important for us to be able to be present in that eating and being mindful in that eating. And so in the 7-day challenge, I have 7 days of like just really being able to focus on like little pieces of it. And so every time that I do this mindfulness challenge, I only do it for the 7 days. And then I start it again at some point, because it's not something that I do on a regular basis, but it's something that I would like to do on a regular basis. So I just continue to keep plugging away at it so that it can become more natural and more focused on what it is that I'm doing. And I noticed that even with Clark, that I'm like really like having him like figure out like, oh, it tastes really good, and like really just getting him to like notice the things that are going on. And like and I love how Brooklyn has him like feeling the food, and because she's doing baby led feeding. And I really love being able to have that experience with him, because it is so important for him to be able to do that. I have issues with texture and taste as well. So then that poses a whole other gamut of challenges in terms of me eating. So I really need to focus on being able to kind of get through that. So just being mindful about what I'm eating, when I'm eating it, and being able to try and slow it down as best as I can without letting my food get cold is also one of the things that I'm doing. So I'd like to invite you to join me in the 7-day mindful challenge, eating challenge, which I'm going to start on Monday. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, shoot me a message and I will send you the worksheet, because that worksheet is ready. And I will send you the worksheet to be able to do that. And I can have you come and join me on the 7-day challenge. So it's going to be starting on Monday. And so it have like daily prompts for 7 days of really being able to focus on that mindful eating. And but because it's Friday, gets really crazy for most people on the weekend. So I don't want it to start on the weekend. So starting on Monday is when we're going to do the mindful eating challenge, if you guys want to join me. And but otherwise, I will chat with all of you guys soon, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye for now.